back to Dance Geek's Halloween week. Today I've got 13, that's right, unlucky number, 13 costumes for dancers. These are all dance themed and I've really tried to make these something you can actually dance in. Now this Cheshire Cat costume is not one of the 13. I've literally just taught and had to dress up as something. A big tip I have for you though, just in general with Halloween dance costumes, or if you've got to actually go and dance in them, is try to base it around things like headpiece, tail, arms, accessories, and makeup. Then you can just do what I did, which is match my dance wear, not the socks, match your dance wear to the costume. This is more the Alice in Wonderland movie version of the Cheshire Cat with the pink and the purple, because I had the ears and I have a lot of pink and purple. So I just made it a Cheshire Cat. This makeup did alright though, because it's just done 3 hours of teaching, so it's still in pretty good nick.
Here's a close-up of what the makeup looked like before 3 hours of ballet teaching.
My friend Kiara, who is my housemate and another fellow dancer, is helping me out in this video. I organised these in lockdown, and yeah, it was really hard to get some of the stuff. So a lot of what I've put together, I had what I already had in my costume cupboard. Oh, behind here is all costumes. Big shelving of costumes. So a lot of the stuff, it was never going to fit me. So I was like, oh, Kiara can wear that. Now, I've got different categories for this one. The first category is icons of dance. Second category is duos. So this is something great that you can do with if you have a sibling who goes to the same dance studio as you, or your dance bestie. And then we have funny or punny costumes. Now, a lot of the time, these are actually my favorite. I really enjoy the thought process behind punny costumes. And these are some dance-based funny punny costumes. And then we have a category that I don't think people take enough advantage of, and that's your dance teacher. So the idea behind this category is focus on your audience, and your audience is pretty much going to be the teacher running the class, or you could be the studio director, or just a prominent person at your studio. What I've also got in this video is 3 DIYs to help you not only make these costumes, but they're DIYs that are going to help you just in your dance life, in your performance life in general. So I'll put the timestamps for those 3 DIYs in the description bar below. Go check that out if you want to just jump forward to it. So I hope you enjoy the movie. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do try out any of these costumes or DIYs, please tag me in and I'd love to see what you come up with. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it, and hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you know whenever I upload a video. Let's get into the costumes.
Icons of dance. Who could number 1 be? Red point shoes, red skirt. Of course, it's Jodie Sawyer, centre stage. Kiara's point shoes are broken in this. I don't recommend dancing in broken point shoes. This costume was really pretty easy to throw together. Go for the key elements in the costume. Don't try to do every single element. So with this costume, the final scene from centre stage is a ballet. So we made sure she had ballet tights, ballet shoes, of course, the red leotard and skirt, and braids in the hair with some red ribbons hanging down. Little behind the scenes tip here. Those aren't red ribbons. I had an old pair of red stockings and I chopped them up. As far as the shoes, that was probably the hardest part of this, and that's why we are going to show you how to dye your point shoes. For this DIY, you'll need your point shoes and a Sharpie in the colour that you want your shoes to be. And that's all. And you literally just colour in the shoes. I didn't even prep these shoes. I didn't clean them. I didn't trim them up. I didn't cover them in some sort of like primer. I just drew straight on them with a Sharpie. I did have a backup Sharpie with me as well, so I got 2 in the same colour just to be on the safe side. But look at that, it's even got a shine to it. It just comes up so well. Even where the satin has worn away on the toe of this shoe, the Sharpie still covered it really, really well. Up really close, it does look a little tiny bit patchy, but it's you'd have to have your eyes right on the shoe. And that's dangerous. You'll probably get kicked in the head, so don't do that. I just can't recommend this method enough. I've done this with a navy blue, royal blue kind of colour. I've done it with black. It looks so good. Icons of dance don't get much more iconic than Alex Owens from Flashdance. And look, this is a pretty simple costume for most dancers out there. Black leotard, jazz shoes, black leg warmers, and a sweatshirt, grey sweatshirt, preferably off the shoulder. I just had this one lying around and I chopped the neck piece out of it. The wig was probably the most difficult part to source because I don't have brown curly hair cut in an 80s style. So I just ordered this one on eBay. A third icon of dance, the legendary Fred Astaire. Now for me, this was the easiest costume by far. I had 2 choices of top hat. I had 2 choices of black dinner jacket, suit jacket type thing. You could just borrow Dad's jacket or one of Mum's blazers if she's got one. The shirt front here is actually a piece that I cut off another t-shirt that was too small. And it's just one of those fake shirt fronts. But you could definitely use a normal white shirt and a black bow tie. Think classic, classy elegance. That's Fred Astaire. There's nothing like a dance bestie, and these duo costumes will be perfect for you and yours. So the first one, super simple. The emoji dancing girls. Black leotard, black dance shoes. And look, this is the hardest part, figuring out what actually they have on their head. Is it a bow? Is it bunny ears? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Chuck a leg out to the side, and there you go. If you and your dance bestie want to up the difficulty level a little bit, then go Maddie and Sia. Big tip with this one, don't wear your body stocking. Body stockings are really, really brief deliberately. So best tip would be get a white leotard and dye it in coffee. And as for the wigs, you can actually buy Sia split dyed wigs on eBay and Amazon, but there is a cheaper way of doing it. If you buy a white synthetic bobbed wig for like $5, you can dye it yourself. And I'm going to show you how. Okay, change your plans. It won't be me showing you how to dye a synthetic wig because my wigs got delayed in postage, thank you COVID, and I couldn't do it. But here is some footage from the cosplay queen, Alexa Paletti. So you just get a Sharpie in whatever colour you want your wig to be, and you use some pliers to remove the tip of the pen and the ink cartridge through the centre. Cut the ink cartridge using an X-Acto knife, and then you pop it into an empty spray bottle, add some rubbing alcohol. After 24 hours, your spray bottle will be ready to go. Spray it onto the hair, mix it through with your fingers, run it through with your fingers like you're combing the hair, and you're pretty much done. I've linked Alexa's video in the description bar below, so go check it out. She's really, really great at this sort of stuff and has heaps of other tips for really cool costuming. Who says Halloween has to always be scary? Let's go with some funny costumes. Now this one is definitely a pun, and it's probably more suited to older students, like adult students, but yes, she's a ballet bar. Get it? Bar? Ha ha. Yeah, bad joke, I know, but I love this costume so much. It took quite a bit of DIYing and craftiness, but it wasn't really hard at all. The alcohol bottles hanging off the tutu are made from toilet rolls, and we painted them, then stuck on some pictures of bottles that we got from a liquor store catalogue. We used that same catalogue and made a tutu overlay with all the different bottles, and I put a few big gemstones, just glued them onto it to give it a bit of glitz. Around her waist, she's got plastic wine glasses that I actually just gaffer taped. They didn't stay, so I'd recommend finding a better way of adhering them if you're going to use the glasses. And then we just matched her leotards and her shoes to the glassware that we had. So we had a red glass, we used red. Now, the headpiece is where it's at for this. because it really helps bring home what this costume actually is. So we've got the letters B-A-R and I cut them out, and you know what? I'm going to show you how to make this, because this could be used to make any kind of headpiece you want, really. It's not the ideal way of doing your headpiece, but my goodness, it worked, and it's so effective. First up, you're going to make a pattern for the top section of your headpiece. So for this one, we wanted the letters B-A-R, but you can do whatever picture shape you want. Either freehand draw it or print it out on some paper. Cut it out as carefully as possible using scissors, and if you need to do any detail internal parts like this center of an A, I used a Stanley knife, or X-Acto knife as other people call it, and just get all of this pattern done first. Now that you have your pattern, we're going to make the top. I'm using glitter craft foam. It's lightweight but will hold a shape really nicely. But because it only has glitter on one side, I'll be cutting out 2 pieces for each letter. Lay your paper pattern out and trace around it. Then flip the paper pattern over and trace around the reverse side. Once you have the front and back of your pattern traced out, you can go ahead and cut it all out. Just like we did when making the paper pattern, use a Stanley knife to cut out any interior pieces, but scissors should do for the outsides. Check to see if the edges of your pieces match up. Use your knife to trim any overhanging or rough edges. The final step before gluing the pieces together is to make some tabs to help attach the top to the base piece. Take some of the fabric you will be using to cover your base, which we'll do in the next step. The size and quantity of your tabs will depend greatly on the shape and size of your top piece. I made 2 tabs per letter, with each measuring slightly smaller than the base of each letter. Essentially, you want the tabs to be evenly spread across the base of your top piece to balance it out. Now, the length of each tab should be roughly half the width of your base. My base will be 4 centimeters wide, so I'm making each tab 2 centimeters long. Mark out the tabs on your fabric, then cut them out. I used fabric glue to stick the glitter foam and the tabs together. Whatever glue you use though, just make sure you only need to use a thin layer. Thick glue like hot glue will make your top piece look lumpy. Place a thin layer of glue on both pieces, then lay the tab on top of one. When the glue is tacky, sandwich the fronts and the backs together with the tab poking out. Fold the tabs alternating ways, one forward, one back, and place a heavy-ish object on top of them to hold them in place, like a coffee cup. This will create a score line in your tabs, which is essential to getting the top to sit on the base later. And here are my top pieces done and setting, with a very strange array of objects holding the tabs in place, but hey, whatever works. Moving on to the base. For this you'll need a piece of cardboard. I prefer using this corrugated type because it's strong but really easy to bend into a curved shape to fit against the head. You need a comb to attach the base to. One standard hair comb should do, but if you're building a large heavy headpiece then consider using 2 combs. You need my favourite crafting tool, a hot glue gun, and of course extra glue sticks. You'll need some fabric to cover the base in. I'm just using craft felt. You could use any fabric here, but I strongly recommend you avoid stretch fabrics as you don't want the fabric to move for this method of construction. And finally, you'll need scissors, an X-Acto knife, something to write with, and something to measure with. I'll be making this base 4 centimeters wide and 18 centimeters long. You can modify these measurements to suit both the person who'll be wearing it and the size of your top piece. Next, cut the cardboard piece out. Then bend the piece slightly to give it a curve so that it will fit against the head. Place your cardboard piece onto your fabric and trace around it. Make sure you're doing this on the back of your fabric if it has a front and a back. Now we're going to cut small slits into the fabric, kind of like buttonholes. This is where each of the tabs from your top piece will slide in. You could measure these out, but I'm not very precise or patient, so I'm just laying out the letters and then marking where the tabs sit. Next up, you're going to cut out the fabric, leaving a seam allowance to fold underneath the cardboard. I left 2 centimetres all the way around. Now, the cardboard piece is going to go in the centre, but you're not going to glue it directly on. This would close up the buttonholes, and we don't want that. What we're doing is folding the seam allowance under and gluing that part down. Chop the corners of your seam allowance off to make it easier to fold the fabric in. Then glue the seam allowance down. Next, we're going to slide our top piece tabs into the buttonholes on the base. This can be a little bit fiddly, especially if you're working with multiple pieces like I am. But I found the best method was to use something pointed like a pen or a skewer and push the tabs in this way. Now here you can see the first letter is in and standing up on its own. This is without any glue. It's staying up because the tabs are going in opposite directions, which balances it. But we want it to be extra secure. So we're going to add a dollop of glue into each buttonhole and press it down firmly. I used fabric glue for this part, but hot glue would definitely still work. Once you have all your top pieces glued in, you can go ahead and add any extra decorations that you like. I finished mine off with a row of teardrop-shaped jewels stuck on with hot glue, giving it this tiara type feel. And the final step is to attach the comb to the base of the headpiece. I used hot glue for this. It works really well with both flat plastic and fabric. Just run a line of the glue along the edge of the comb, then place it at the back of the headpiece, and you're done.
She's a banana, but not just any banana. Banana split!
This one's super easy if you can get access to one of these banana headpiece things. You could also make yourself a banana headpiece if you just buy some like toy banana type things and stick them on a headpiece. You could make it a bit Carmen Miranda style. But essentially this is supposed to be an easy suggestion that requires a little bit of acting, like doing the splits. This was my Halloween costume for dancing last year in 2019. I'm a dance mummy. There was a bit of DIY craftiness involved in making this costume, but none of it was particularly hard. And let's face it, a lot of it was a very dance mum type thing to do. Gluing gems onto the front of the t-shirt to make the words dance mummy seem a bit more glam. I used just a whole bunch of cream off-white coloured fabric that I cut into strips to tie around me to make the bandages. And then I decided to really lean into the whole glam dance mum thing, and I used some strips of diamantes to add to the bandages. I did fairly basic Halloween zombie type makeup, and that's pretty much the completed look.
Excuse me.
What? Oh, sorry I'm late.
Kiara, you know there's no jumpers in ballet class.
Because I'm cold.
Can you please put your hair in a bun, Kiara?
Oh, my mum didn't pack my stuff.
Do you think it might be time to get some new tights, Kiara?
Miss, I'm just going to take it easy today because I got my finger stuck in my locker. It really hurt.
I both hate and love this idea at the same time. This one kind of leans into the next category, which is your dance teacher, because for this one to really work, you need to think of the things that your dance teacher really hates. If they're really picky about hair being in a bun, then don't put your hair in a bun. Those sorts of things. I think you could definitely have a lot of fun with this one. The final category leads on from the nightmare student, and this is your dance teacher. These are all costumes designed to be about your dance teacher, for your dance teacher. They're funny and you can definitely have a lot of fun doing these. Now, to show you examples of these costumes, what I did was I gave the ideas to Kiara and let her run with it, using me, her dance teacher, as the inspiration. So basically, you are just about to see 4 costumes where Kiara makes fun of me in a kind, lighthearted way. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, welcome back to class. Oh, it feels like we've been on Zoom for so long. All right, if you have your point shoes, get your point shoes. Oh, I just spilled my. Oh.
This is such a good impersonation of me. It's ridiculous. The sign says coffee stain if you can't read it. And look, if I'm ever wearing a white top of any kind, you can be guaranteed it will have a coffee stain on it. Well done, Kiara.
Lucky I brought my sunscreen. Okay, alright, 10 laps running across the
Really go for it with this idea if you're going to do it. My only tip is please don't be disrespectful or mean when you're impersonating somebody. So I'm very glad that Kiara just went with the things that I make fun of in myself. That's the best way to do this type of costume. Costume number 11. This is something your dance teacher hates. I can't stand pattern clashing when it's done wrong. Pattern clashing can be amazing, and this is me stopping it because I just couldn't look at Kiara anymore because it actually makes me feel physically ill to see patterns clashed badly. So this is really personal to whatever your teacher really hates. You could even dress up as if they hate a particular colour or a particular singer or something like that. I had no idea what was going on here, and then I saw the sign on her head, Tyler. The glove came out and I knew that she was recreating my favourite movie, Fight Club, with my favourite actor, Brad Pitt. She even did my favourite scene, the rubber gloves. Say no more. And lucky number 13 is recreating a flashback of your teacher. This one could take a little bit of work. What you do is find an old picture of your teacher from when they were dancing in their dancing days, and then recreate not only the costume but the pose in that photo. Kiara took this costume that I happen to still have from many, many years ago and flipping nailed it. I instantly called my sister and showed her because she was in this group dance as well. It's my favourite by far, and I just adore it. So there you have it, 13 Halloween costumes for dancers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you learnt something new with the DIYs to add to your bag of tricks and take your costumes, whether they be in the studio for a fun day like Halloween or on stage, to take them to a really awesome another level. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.